Okay, so for my keyword research on these products, if you've ever done this with me before for just regular product creation, meaning your Etsy listings and stuff, we're going to follow the same procedure. And there are essentially 3 tools that I'm going to use, Etsy being one of them, Sales Samurai another one, and then my spreadsheet that you now have access to. So I have a very unique product, right? It's a middle finger, kind of unique. So my first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go look on Etsy and kind of see if there's a comparable product. So I'm going to go to Etsy and then I'm just going to search on middle finger, right? Because that's kind of what it is, middle finger. Now there's something in here that I want you to pay attention to. This blue thing that's happening right here, this blue number, this is a Google Chrome extension provided by Sales Samurai. This is why I love Sales Samurai. So the middle finger, what it's showing me is 10, 12. This is the search volume that's happening on a daily basis that people are apparently looking for middle finger. I can actually click on this and see what other middle finger artworks and pieces there are, and you know, it makes you chuckle. So that's interesting, and then I could kind of take it from there and see who's making really good sales. Generally what you want to avoid is like the top row, because those are generally sponsored, meaning they're paying for ads. So for example, you can see ad by such and such, ad by such and such. So those are going to have high numbers just because they're doing ads. I want to actually look at this comparatively as though I'm not doing ads yet, right? So I'm going to look kind of down below, see ones that have good ratings. That means they have high sales, because not everybody actually leaves a rating, right, that purchases. So I can click on one of these, and one of the things I'm looking at is actually what kind of keywords are they using. And when I look at the keywords, what I'm looking for is in their titles up here. Now this one's actually an SVG. It's not very comparable to what I'm actually doing, but it's still interesting to read what keywords they're using to stuff this with. So for example, they've got skeleton middle finger instant download. Okay, middle finger, that's probably something that I will use in the future. And then you can also see and scroll down below, here are some other keywords that they are using, or that might be what somebody is searching for. So this is really good stuff down here. And what I want to do is start documenting that in my spreadsheet, right? So I'm going to go a step further because I really love the Sales Samurai. So I'm going to go back and try and find a middle finger artwork. All right. So here we've got some, again, kind of going through the same steps, looking for a high number of ratings. That means a high number of sales. And so this one's pretty good. Let's take a look at this one. Middle finger print, feminist art print, boho, blah. Okay, all really good stuff. Now I want to dig a little bit deeper, right? That's really good stuff. I want to dig deeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this URL that's up top. I'm going to bring it in my Sales Samurai, and I'm going to go over to my search. In search, I can go to single listings because I've pinpointed a single listing that seems to be doing well, and I want to see what they're doing behind the scenes. So I'm going to click search. Okay, so from here I can tell a lot of information that's kind of going on with this particular item. This particular item's been on there for 983 days. So that's quite a long time that this thing has been out there. And that's, I guess, good. So anyway, what I'm going to scroll down and look at is all of their keywords. These are all tags that I can use, and I want to start saving them in my Sales Samurai, as you can see I've done right here. So anything that has a colored heart, I've saved this keyword so that I can generate and quickly generate keywords that I know I'm going to want to use in my listings. So here, you know, we got middle finger print. Even though right now what I might not be providing is a print, I know in a future thing I will. Feminist gifts was an interesting idea, so I selected that one and kept that one. So you can see I'm starting to build up those keywords that I then want to bring into my spreadsheet. So this is my spreadsheet, right? I want to bring it in here and start documenting what my description might look like. So I've already got like a description here, middle finger artwork that appears on the cover of Spy Blah, and I've collected a bunch of keywords that might work well. And these are more than 13, and I do that so that I can evaluate over time if I need to or want to either create another listing to almost compete with mine, or even double the amount of opportunities for sales. And I can put in additional keywords to kind of see which one works better, right? So this information, I'm going to go back to Sales Samurai, helps me build my keyword titles, my keyword descriptions, and my keywords. Now, another thing that this will help me do is, let's say I'm creating a notebook, right? I'm going to do a basic search, and I'm going to type in, let's just type in notebook. It really doesn't matter what a notebook has on it. Most of them are going to be of the same value unless it's made of moleskin, leather, and so on. So what I'm going to look for is actually a notebook that's comparable to what I'm going to create, and I'm going to look at the price points. And I'm also looking at the tags, okay? So if we look down here, the price spread, what we can see is, you know, the bell curve, basically. We're looking at a bell curve, and we can tell, like, okay, there's 7 listings at $13 and 4 listings at $4 and so on. So what we probably want to hit about is probably the top of the bell curve, so that we can at least make sure that we're making some sort of profit and leave room to offer discounts, right? Like a 20% off sale and so on. So this is extremely helpful right in here. All right. So now I've got a lot of information. I've got my product keyword, I've got my product description, title, all the keywords that I need to make a meaningful title, description, and make it a comparable price. So I'm going to make sure that I document all of that in my spreadsheet. Okay, so I've documented everything in my spreadsheet, and I've got all my pricing calculated based on what's in Printify, because I'm going to be using Printify to create my notebooks. I've already written my description and peppered it in several places with using the keywords that we researched through Sales Samurai. Now what I'm going to do is go into my Printify, and I'm going to go in, and I've already done this so to help speed it up for you. So what I've done in my Printify is I've added the title. So notice that it's got all the keyword stuffing based on the keywords that we found. And Etsy uses the term keyword, which means tag. They use the name tag. Everybody else says keywords. So just kind of FYI there. So we've got everything up here. I've added all my description into the description area here based on what I wrote into my template, right? So now it is ready. And then I also went ahead and evaluated the price. So then I select what I want to be sent over to Etsy. So I'm going to send the product title, description, mock-ups, colors, and sizes. And then I actually already have a shipping profile created over on Etsy that's going to be using. So once I've done that, all I have to do is click publish. Then it's going to go over into Etsy. Printify will actually go ahead and publish it to published. And Guten will allow you to check a little box that says draft. So what I want to do in here is go into Etsy at that point and make sure that I add all of my other components. So we are working on the notebook. So the notebook, it's brought all over everything. I'm going to add in my images, and in this one pager, you have access to these swipe files to be able to grab these, you know, get 10% off, follow us, so that you can customize that through Canva. Now, you'll notice it brought over the journal. There's a couple things that we need to update when we do this, because all the data doesn't necessarily, that Printify needs to fulfill the offer is not what Etsy needs to publish the offer and help us better target our markets. So we're going to go through and make sure that we fill out everything that we possibly can. So the primary color is black and white, right? It is a physical product. Those two things do come over. I did select manual because this is a new product that I want to evaluate how it's doing every 4 months. Etsy's listings last 4 months at 20 cents. So at the end of that, I'll get a nice little email notification, which case I want to take the time to evaluate how it's doing and if I need to reconsider changing some of the information that's in here. So you'll notice the description came over very nicely. You have to select which production partner that you're using. So in this case, I'm using Printify. That does not come over. You have to do that. Very important, or the connection will not work, okay, to your Printify or Guten provider. I'm going to restate that. Make sure that you select the correct vendor right here. It does not automatically come over for those vendors, okay? Then you also want to make sure that you select your section, and then your tags will automatically come over. One of the things I like to do is decrease the number below 25 because that gives some sense of urgency, like we've talked before. So when people are looking at your Etsy listing, anything below 25, it shows up in red saying like there's only 10 left, there's only 22 left, so on. So I like that. It gives that sense of urgency. Check, make sure your price is the way you want it. Check and make sure that your shipping is correct and which one you're choosing. And then if you're doing advertising, you can say yes, advertise. If you're not, just click maybe later. And that's it. So now that is ready to publish, and you've created your first product.